Hello and welcome to another macro video. Today is what I'm hoping is going to be the first in a series of videos entitled Macros for the Terrified. So my assumption is that you've got some sort of idea that macros are a good thing, but you've decided that they're really rather scary, and if you feel that, then you are most certainly not alone. I've met lots of people in that position, and hopefully we can get you started. My first question though is, what are you worried about? And having talked to various people, the suggestions I have are that actually installing the macros is too technical, or actually using them is too technical. And then secondly, even if you've got them installed, then if you use them incorrectly, they could cause a mess. They could mess up the document that you're working on. There may be other things, in which case please tell me. I'll give the email address at the end. Okay, so for the first one, saying that the actually installing and using the macros is too technical, I'm hoping to reassure you on that point. You can use my macro starter pack as a way of installing a number of macros and getting them up and running ready to use, and I'm hoping that that's going to be the subject of my next video, Macros for the Terrified Part 2. Well, next question really is, how easy is it to make a mess? Well, the point here is that there are different types of macros, and some of them are more easy to make a mess with than others. The way I have kind of analysed them is into macros that I've called analysis macros, where you are looking at the document that you're about to edit and you are trying to find inconsistencies, or rather the computer is going to find out the inconsistencies for you and warn you about them. And then secondly, I have what I call topical macros, or line editing macros. So that's where you're actually reading the document word by word, sentence by sentence, and making changes as you go along. And so therefore you see the changes as you make them. And then the third type, most powerful but most susceptible to problems, would be the global change macros, and there are a lot of those. Those are going to save you a lot of time if you can summon up courage and build up your skills to use them, but let's not go there just yet. Let's get started on simpler things first. So the analysis macros, I've got names which start with a word and then allies. So for example, we've got docalize, which was my the first analysis macro I wrote years ago. It was a document analysis, so I called it docanal, just anal being short for analysis. But I was assured by the members of SFEP, the Society for Editors and Proofreaders, that wasn't a good name to use, and eventually I realised why. So it's docalize. Now the point about the analysis macros is that there's absolutely no way you can make a mess with them, because they only ever examine the document, they never change it. It's only you that's going to make the changes. You might call it non-destructive testing. So you're looking at the object and you're finding information about the object, but you're not actually changing it in any way at all. Then the topical or line editing macros, they say, you make the changes as you read, so it is possible to mess up, but it's difficult because you can actually see the changes that you're making as you go along. But then okay, with global change macros, because they change parts of the document that you can't actually see, you can't tell until you start reading whether you've done anything untoward. So there are various ways in which we can make life safer and simpler, and lots of other videos that I've produced will help you with that, but don't worry about that at the moment. If you do use them, okay, the rule is start simple and then gradually increase use as you build up your confidence. and there will be more macros for the Terrified to come on those topical and line editing macros and the global change macros. So watch this space. But is it worth starting? Well, absolutely. Just to give you a bit of a flavour of what's possible, we've got 5 main analysis macros that you can use. Then the oldest was Docalize, which looked at various of the conventions that are used in the document usually to do with punctuation and spelling, and it gives you a list of all the different things it's found and how often they occur. Again, there are videos on that if you want to look it up. Proper Nounalize, there you're looking at the spelling of proper nouns. So, for example, are the 2 Beverleys that you've got in your document the same person, misspelt, or are they 2 separate people? Hyphenalize, there you've got, does car park occur hyphenated, 2 words or 1 word? And word pairalize, if the word does not occur as a hyphenated word, we can actually, it takes longer to run the program, it's a bigger program, but we can still pick up where you've got a 2-word and a single word version of the same thing. And then capitalize, you've got words that sometimes occur with a capital letter and sometimes without. Obviously it's going to be confused by words occurring at the beginning of sentences, but it's up to you to look at the information you're provided by the analysis and interpret it. So on that basis, let's have a look at a couple of the results you get. So Proper Nounalize, here's an example of what that will do. So it goes through the document and tells you how many times each proper noun occurs. So you've got Alexander and Alexandra. We know that's probably 2 different people. It's a male and a female. But what the analysis does is to look at different things like different endings to the word, different vowels. Here you've got Alan and Alen. So they could be 2 different people or 1 misspelt. So there are various things like that, and Beckett with or without an E there. And then I'll just show you a hyphenized one. So that one would give you, so for example here, look, we've got breakdown with a hyphen or 2 words or 1 word. Coaxial occurs as hyphenated or as 1 word. I mean, if it's something like just the 2 words and the 1 word, then that might be reasonable. You can break down this discussion into blah blah blah. That is 2 words. Or I'm having a breakdown. It's probably going to be 1 word. But the analysis can only tell you what's there. It's up to you to interpret the results that the analysis gives you. Before I finish, let's just give you a quick view of the topical or line editing to show you the sorts of things. So if you've got 2 words in the wrong order, then you can have a keystroke so that you press the keystroke and it swaps the 2 words over. So if they're the wrong way around. Or the same for characters, so that's karatka. So I want to run a different macro, and that one switches the 2 adjacent characters around, so you can go backwards and forwards on that. And then there's a very powerful macro called multi-switch. So with that one, you put in a whole series of words that you want to change. So for example, the word that might often, well, it does often, want changing to which. So if I click in the word and run multi-switch, it switches it round. Sorry about the bong. And the same again the other way, of course. We often want to change which into that. Was, sometimes the agreement might be wrong, so got was and were. Continuous, continual, common mistake. Could be one, could be the other, depending on the context. And then you've got things like a macro where you've got a lot of numbers that are there as figures and you want them as words. So there's a macro for that which actually goes along the line. So if I run the macro once and again, so that you can see how that could save you time if you've got to do a lot of those. And then of course we've got the global change macros, Fredit being the biggest time saver of all. I'm saying that although it's powerful, you've got to use it with care, but hopefully we can help you in further macros for the Terrified videos. So that's it for now. If you've got any queries or want to make suggestions, then please email me. Thanks for watching. Bye.